Many of you are here entrepreneurs, and it's great to see so many people here. The bad thing is actually 90% of you will actually fail. And like Tim Draper in the morning said, that you should feel good, you should kind of learn from your mistakes. And we have here a guy who's a really like old-time heavy hitter. He's been a serial entrepreneur behind 10, co-founder of 10 famous and not so famous companies. He did great on some of them, growing to billions and billions in market cap, and then lost tens and tens of millions in some of the other companies. So I'm happy to introduce Kamran Elahian from Global Catalyst Partners in Silicon Valley. So tell us how to cope with a failure. Thank you.
Thanks. Hello. So nice to be here. It's wonderful to see lots of smiling faces. And they ask everybody to talk about their successes. And when I was given with the choice, I selected to talk about my failure and my biggest fuck up. Why? Michael Jordan says that he missed 9,000 shots, 300 games he was supposed to win, and he lost. And 24 times he was supposed to make the final point that if he did it, he would have won. And he missed it. So if you are into sports, if you want to be a champion, you don't train to win. A good coach trains you to be prepared to lose and learn from your failure and figure out what you have to do so the next game, you have a better chance. Now, what was my biggest, most amazing fuck up? My first company, I was 26 years old, called CAE Systems. And before I was 30 years old, Tektronix Corporation bought it for $75 million. My second company, Cirrus Logic, became the fastest growth semiconductor company for its time. Revenue went to over 1.1 billion, and our market cap was over 3.5 billion. So I'm still a kid at that time. This is all 80s, 90s. And I think I can't make any mistakes, right? Wrong. When I started my third company, it was called Momenta Corporation. Investors were so anxious to give me money, I would not even tell them what I'm going to do. They would throw money at me. Raised 40 million bucks. I had this dream, literally a dream. In my dream, I was reading Wall Street Journal on a special kind of paper. This was in 1989. And there was an ad for a there was an article about automobile industry and an ad for a Japanese car, Honda. In my dream, I went with my finger and I touched the ad, and it became a color video. I woke up, I said, hey, I'm going to go and build this kind of tablet that you don't need a keyboard, you can use your finger. And in my dream, it had no buttons. So I designed Momenta computer with no buttons. We introduced it in 1991, November. We were on the cover of 20 magazines. Everybody said this MVP of the year, future of computing. Why would anybody want to have anything except this? I got 10 awards. Cover of 20 magazines. everything is great, right? April 1st, 1992, I come to work. There is a board meeting going on. I had hired Chief Operating Officer of Apple to be my COO because we were growing. Our first year orders was 300 million. I'd cut it down, told my board, only 100 million is our first year revenue. And we shipped, first month, close to $25 million worth of products. So I thought this was a done deal. What I didn't know was the product did not stand the test of the market. And people did not know how to work with a tablet that had no buttons. All they had to do was put their pen or their finger on the screen and it would wake up. Everybody returned it and said, this thing is not working. Now, we of course had many other problems, but this was so far ahead of iPhone and iPad, 12, 15 years before that. The market did not have the understanding. The market was, to run a computer, you need to have, some of you might remember, Control, Alt, Delete. 3 fingers, we have to go and put them God knows in what way, because computers have to be difficult. So Microsoft could make money. And many people could be staying off of this stupid set of codes. Well, I ask everybody, I'm the CEO, the chairman. I did not call for a board meeting. And I was told, they did. And I'm fired. This was April 1st, 1992. I thought it was April Fool's Day joke. But nobody was laughing. So I can talk in here, stand up and say, celebrate the failure. But guess what? It sucked. It was horrible. That's my company, that's my baby. They're firing me, saying, God. When we as human beings have a shock, lose something we really love, what is our first reaction? Have you ever noticed you lose your iPhone? What do? You keep looking for it. It must be somewhere in here. It's denial. So next day, I get up, get ready, go and pick up my bag. My wife says, where are you going? I said, I'm going to work. She says, you were fired yesterday. Where the hell are you going? I said, no, they didn't mean it. How could they fire me? I'm the big boss. I'm the founder. I put so much of my money, blood, sweat, everything. Denial is the first part. Then, after a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, it really feels horrible. And you start to say, maybe it did happen. You accept it. And what's your reaction next? Anger, huge anger. Those goddamn bastards, why the hell did they fire me? Guess what? What was my title? Chief Executive Officer. As the CEO of a company, didn't matter who made mistake, who was the bastard who fired me. I selected them to be my board members. If a product had bugs, I selected my VP of engineering. If we had support issues, manufacturing issues, I hired and approved every one of them. That's what CEO does. You can't go and say it's their fault. It's all my fault. So when you recognize that, you go to the next level. Still is horrible, still sucks, but at least you say, okay, I screwed up, I got fired, and if you are man enough, you cry. They teach us, unfortunately, that we have to be macho and never cry. That's pure bullshit. If you are man enough, you accept it and you say, I cry a little bit. It releases a lot of anger. In this category, women are blessed. There are more men than men because they are confident enough to be emotional and fly and cry. And after crying, they fly because it releases a lot of our stress. And once we have gotten over crying and feeling sorry for ourselves, you go to the next phase. What did I learn? And how could I improve my game? Which is what Michael Jordan did. Every game he lost, he would go back, analyze, watch the videos, and say, how can I improve my speed? How can I improve my agility, my leg muscles, my upper body? That's what a champion does. Champions learn to celebrate their failures, learn from it, and the next game, they have a higher chance to succeed. As you see, after Momenta, Neomagic, first year revenue, 45 million. Second year revenue, 125 million. Third year revenue, 240 million. Huge IPO. Centillion Communications, first year revenue, 56 million. Second year, 160 million. After the bubble had burst, 4 billion market cap. That's how you learn. But it didn't end there. After that, I got fired again. So what? Win some, lose some. You know how in Silicon Valley, everybody puts the license plate of their big successes? Can you imagine what is on my license plate? Momenta. Why? Every day when I come and I look at that, I say, you can screw up royally. And don't think that your shit doesn't stink. It stinks really bad. And don't get it in your goddamn head that you are somebody special. Anytime you meet an entrepreneur, a VC, who thinks he's here and you are here, run away from them as soon as you can because they haven't been burned yet. And you might be their first Momenta. The good ones have gone through ups and downs, and they know that they are not that much of a hot shit. We are all smart. Sometimes timing works out. We all work hard, and you have huge success. If we don't give up and work on the next one, and get better and better, we evolve. If they recognize that, hang around them. If not, just run away from them as soon as you can, because it doesn't matter how many big successes they had, you might be their first big screw-up. And nothing is worse than having an arrogant son of a bitch on your board trying to tell you what you should do, everything. You want somebody who understands how difficult it is to go and get a company off the ground, and how it is full of ups and downs. Go and look at any of the biggest successes when they write case studies about it, about Google, about Facebook, about Intel, Cisco, whatever, it's always this kind of a curve. But when you talk to the founders, when you have a nice beer with them where they open up to you, they will say every single day, every single week was full of ups and downs and ups and downs. And the ones who know that there are going to be daily failures prepare themselves to recognize it quickly and go and come up with an open discussion with all the team and come up with solutions so that the failure is a small one and they start to go up again, but they're ready for the next failure. And then they fix it and they go up. You need to have a team that has open conversation. You don't want a whole bunch of ass-kissers who come and tell you, boss, everything is good. You need to know that there are lots of problems, and the only way you can go up is finding out the problem before it becomes a huge problem, and fix it and go up. And then again, fix it, go up. My definition of success is management of failures. And you do that well, you start to become bulletproof. Nothing shakes you anymore. Getting fired, BFD. I learned from it. This is the universe trying to get me to evolve, get stronger. I wanted to become black diamond skier when I was 50 years old. I could only do greens. And I started to get a great coach who taught me first, don't be scared of falling down. And I fell down, and I fell down. And I had quite a few broken body parts and operations. But I did not give up, and I learned. So now, any of you who like to do black diamonds, tell me, we'll come and we'll share some experiences. Because I can tell you, I have broken more body parts than many of you combined. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, thank you. Don't leave it, don't leave it. We have time for quite some questions, actually. So who wants to be the first? Hand up, hand up.
A lady back there.
Back there.
Gentleman. No, gentleman, sorry, yeah, you. I couldn't see.
Thank you. So how do you promote this kind of failing fast culture in a team so that the team really feels comfortable in front of each other, failing in front of each other?
Okay, very good question. First of all, when you are selecting your team, make sure that they all have a high level of integrity. Honest people don't hide the facts. So if they come and you arrange meetings, not just to celebrate you made $1 million sales, the moment somebody says, we are in the crisis mode, I see something bad happening, you say, fine, let's sit down and talk. And make sure in your team, besides honesty, you have incredibly smart people. Because smart people love to solve problems. Have you ever noticed how many of you cannot sit on your asses and do nothing? You have to play a game. You have to solve a puzzle. You have to read a book. You have to watch something. Why? Because every smart person is a slave to their brains. And you love to solve problems. And the third characteristic is make sure you hire people who know up front there is going to be many problems and don't give up easily. Because even when you come up with a solution, you know the theory, but making it work, ideas come a dime a dozen. It's who can go and execute and make it happen. So perseverance is very key. And the last characteristic that I highly recommend make sure you have in your team, very, very few people talk about it. You need to make sure you have people in your team who have a good sense of humor. They can tell better jokes than I do. Because what? When shit starts to hit the fan, we all get nervous. We are all under a lot of stress. If we have a few comedians, a few people with a good sense of humor, somebody cracks a joke, we all laugh. Some of it is nervous laughter, but guess what? Our body chemistry, we calm down. And we start to look for how to solve the problem rather than be emotional and attack another person, blame them for what went wrong. If you don't have a sense of humor, you go home, you have a fight with your husband, you have a fight with your wife, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend, kick the dog, go through divorce. None of those are good. You don't want to be going home and the dog coming and biting your leg because last time you kicked it. Just hire a comedian. And you know, who knows, if my next deal fails, I might be available. Come and give me a call.
Any other questions? We have one there in the middle. Fascinating advice.
Hi, yeah, I'm one that will probably with 90% fail what I'm going to do. How do you know once you screwed up? And if you're not fired, so how do you know that you screwed up if no one's going to tell you?
Well, you hire the team who, as I said, are honest and they share ideas. If you are Donald Trump and you hire a whole bunch of yes people around you, you think your shit doesn't stink and you're always greatest and the best and you have all the answers. And that's ignorance plus arrogance. That's the worst kind, the worst kind of leader you could ever be. But if you hire people who are better than you, who know more than you, they will come, trust me, on a daily basis, say, hey, boss, we have problem here, we have problem here. At CAE Systems, one of my co-founders, Steve Sapiro, I loved him dearly, he was Mr. Skeptic. Every time I saw the glass full, he saw the glass not half empty, fully empty. And we are sitting in a meeting, and I'm saying, rah, 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 wait, we can do this, we can do that. Investors would come and say, how come Kamran is so happy and always so positive, and you say we have got so many problems? He said, Kamran is ignorant. Ignorance is a bliss. He doesn't know any better, so he's happy. So the day we sold the company, I go to Steve and I say, at least be happy today. He says, why should I be happy? They haven't done a good job of due diligence. 3 months due diligence was not enough. Soon they will find out that we have all these problems. They want their money back. I couldn't win with Steve, but I loved him dearly because he kept us on our toes. And because of him, we had the successes.
Thank you. We are
Thanks.
short on time, but find Kamran here and ask him questions. So.